And I feel like that was kind of what messed us up. So, yeah.
And how did physicality play a role in today's game?
Yeah, definitely being physical, especially in the post against Cardozo, knowing she's their leading scorer, rebounder, knowing you had to stop her early, getting some calls there, some foul calls, and that was kind of a bummer, but knowing you had to be physical in order for her to get less touches, and I feel like we did a good job with that, but, they called a lot of fouls, and I was in foul trouble personally, but, yeah.
And how did that foul trouble kind of impact your mentality?
I would say just being able to cheer for my teammates, continuing that. I feel like it does kind of mess up the rhythm, especially when I play. But just being able to keep on cheering on my teammates that were subbing in for me and getting and playing against her. Yeah.
And can you just talk about kind of the challenges off the bench, the depth that South Carolina had specifically with Chloe Kitt in the post, for example?
Yeah, they definitely have a deeper bench than we do. We, had some injuries this year, so that hasn't been the best advantage for us. So they had to take advantage of that. They had more bodies, so they were able to, get up and down the floor. I feel like their transition offense worked really well. That was because they were able to get subs in and just run the floor and score easily there.
Yeah, and then
definitely, which could mean a lot of different things, but y'all see the adversity we've gone through, so a lot of other teams. So it's not we're not asking anyone to feel sorry for us, but yeah, it was a lot of ups and downs, and that's kind of what happens as you go through. But I ultimately like the way we kind of just stayed the course and battled through that throughout the season. But yeah, obviously it was one of our tougher ones, one of my tougher ones since being here. So yeah.
They seem to put bodies on you a lot. Were they as physical as any opponent you faced this season?
They're a physical team, I would say. I think that's kind of what every team's game plan is to try to get me out the game and make everyone else beat them. So they did that from jump, and then that's when we got stagnant. We didn't really try to put me off ball and have me off ball screens until late in the fourth quarter, which I think if we did that earlier, that would have opened a lot of different things up for everyone else instead of having me in highways. But yeah, they were physical. But that's what their game plan was to make everything difficult for me. They did a good job of that. They closed the space on a lot of things.
Think a lot of contact was allowed?
Oh, hell yeah. There was a lot of contact allowed, and in the fourth, especially, the foul count was 5-0. I was talking to the refs, and it was going through one ear and out the other. You kind of saw how they were calling it from jump. They were favoring their side. But that's how it goes. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of contact on both sides.
Every shot you took was difficult.
Mm-hmm.
What you say?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. They, like I said, they. When we played the first time earlier this year, I was kind of scoring at will, and then they knew that they had to take that away, and again make everyone else on our team beat them, and they did a good job of kind of not letting that happen.
Was Full Wiley on you a lot?
Yes, her and Raven were on me a lot. That I remember. Yeah.
Because she played only 3 minutes in the first game and scored. So that's a huge difference. So what challenges did she give you?
Yeah, she's grown a lot this season from only playing 3 minutes against us because she showed a lot of just being a freshman in that first game, but she's definitely grown a lot. Gives them a lot off the bench. So I think her assignment was to come in and be physical and come in and basically not let me have anything, which I thought she did a pretty good job of. A lot of people were just loading to me, and yeah.
Thanks.
We're going through whatever injuries or just different adversity that we faced throughout the season. Like this team, whoever could play was going to go out there and play as hard as they could. And I think that we learned how different people can impact the team in so many different ways, whether that's on the court or off the court with injuries and different stuff like that. So I think that we just proved that we're always going to put up a fight.
And can you talk about, just the pieces that South Carolina kind of employed today? 10 bench points in y'all's season early, or y'all's matchup earlier this season versus 51 tonight. What did you see from them off the bench?
I would just say in general, they shot the ball probably better than they have all year, almost from 3 tonight. So that's always tough when I think they average around 6 a game, and they had 8 at half. So that's tough because they're so big inside. So when they're knocking down shots like that from outside as well, it makes them really, really hard to guard. And I feel like that's a part of their game that was up and down a little bit throughout the year. So just when they hit so many in the first half, it was challenging to come back from.
And just as a guard that, you play consistently over 35 minutes, if not 40 every game, how has injury and kind of limited guard rotation impacted the season and specifically in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we had a bunch of things that just didn't go our way early, and then we were in such a deep hole that it was really hard to come back out of. We have been playing with the same roster for the last, I don't know however many games, but quite a few. So I just think that we needed to start better in our first half. There were things that we would have needed to change and improve on that would have affected the game.
Yeah, and what about South Carolina's defense was just so disruptive for you guys today?
Yeah, I mean, they're tall, athletic, long. They're good at guarding on the ball. I mean, I feel like the way that they were able to discourage it at times from Deja and at times from me challenged our offense a little bit, made us get into things that we weren't as comfortable with, maybe, or the shots that we wouldn't necessarily, shots that we couldn't get, the shots that we were initially looking for a lot of the time. So that was challenging because even if you can beat your own, their help defenders are really tall and long that are coming across to help in the paint too.
Yeah, and at halftime, how would you kind of describe the conversation that happened to kind of keep you guys in the game, and what was the overall mood of the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first half didn't go how we would have hoped it would have, but we came in here and we were like, hey, we've battled through adversity all year. Let's find out what we're really made of. Like, we're gonna go out there and fight. We're not gonna quit. We're not gonna give up. We're not gonna take any possessions off. Like, no matter what the outcome is of this game, we're still gonna put together a second half that shows people that we do fight and we don't give up.
And Don Staley kind of talked about
if you have you given consideration to using that or not.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Their physicality, did that really affect you guys on the offensive end today?
I don't think it was the physicality. I think it was just the overall flow of the game, and I felt like South Carolina did a good job of maintaining their momentum and taking advantages where we were lacking.
Because the game was dramatically different than the first game. Obviously, the guard personnel didn't have them for a while, and you guys not having three made a big difference. What do you think were the big reasons that the game was so different?
I mean, I think that they came out to play today. Not to say that they did it before, but I felt like there was a different energy and different mentality that they came out with. I mean, they're on their home floor. It's March Madness. There's so many things that can fuel individuals and their teams, and I just felt like they were the better team today.
And how do you digest it when you're that far behind in the second quarter to make it through the rest of the game? What was the mentality?
Yeah, we just got to keep chipping away. We know that, like, our crowd might be a little deflated because they're looking at the scoreboard, but since we're the ones on the floor and we're making the impact in the game, we have to bond together and we have to figure out what we want to do during that time. Are we going to stick together and try to chip away this deficit, or are we going to crumble? And I thought that this group is really resilient, and I thought that we did a good job of just slowly chipping away as best as we could.
And some of you, where you get points a lot inside, it was just hard to do with Cardozo in there. But you did a little bit better in the first game. Can you talk about that dynamic?
I mean, I felt like the games were pretty similar, and I had a lot of good looks, and I missed a few shots. I think that was the biggest difference. I think my productivity obviously wasn't as good, but I felt like the ball just wasn't going in. But we were trying our best as a group to get each other open looks. Their defense made it really difficult, so I do think that South Carolina deserves a lot of credit for how they played today.
Yeah, just think they came out hitting everything. I swear, it felt like they were hitting every shot. So I think they were having a good night, and then the energy from the crowd kind of helped them, and then we could never get our rhythm going. So I think that kind of hurt us in the beginning. Then we dug ourselves in deep holes.
Yeah, and what did you kind of see from their defense that was just so disruptive?
Yeah, they were really tight on Deja, and we kind of run a lot lot of, well, our offense kind of starts with her, or we go to her for the first pass, so that kind of messed us up at the beginning, and then we had to adjust. Like, I had to start bringing the ball down the floor and initiating the offense. So, yeah, that kind of just being really tight on the wings and not in the ball, I felt like that kind of disrupted our offensive flow.
It looked like they were really physical, and that kind of disrupted your offense. Did that have an effect?
Yeah, I felt like they were being really aggressive with us, but we couldn't be aggressive with them. It was kind of uneven with the foul calls. So that was something we had to play through as well, along with every other factor.
You had a ticky-tack in the first minute.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I felt like I didn't even touch her, but you just got to keep playing. You can't reverse the calls.
Yeah, and how would you kind of describe the team's mentality of surrounding that really foul trouble?
Keep fighting. You can't reverse anything, so you have to adjust. You can't be as aggressive. That's the main thing.
What's the biggest difference? Full Wiley didn't play in the first game. She played 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And she had big minutes and had 18 points. And then you had 3 guards played in the first game, didn't play in this game. The guard dynamic was huge, it seems like. Mm-hmm. I mean, how much better did Full Wiley make South Carolina today than in the first game?
I thought they're so deep, so like somebody different goes off every night, so like today was just her day, I guess. She played really well, so.
Yeah, and just kind of talking about, I guess, the injuries that have kind of plagued this season. How would you contrast, I guess, just, the bench rotation of this team versus South Carolina and how that was a factor in today's game?
Oh, yeah. We had a very short bench. People had to play through fatigue, and they were subbing in fresh legs. So, yeah, they were running the floor on us, and we were just getting tired. We tried our best to get back. Yeah, it's hard to fresh legs versus fatigue, getting 2 legs where a lot of us played a lot of minutes the first game. So.
Thank you so much.
5th possible year. Either of you talked about playing another year?
That's definitely a thought. I feel like right now in the season we're just kind of focused on what the season was and the tournament, and so yeah, it's a background thought, but we've been really focused on the present moment.
Yeah, same as you said. I haven't really thought about it just because it's really good to focus on what's going on right now. We were focusing on these 2 games, trying to get to the Sweet 16. So like she said, it is a thought, but haven't really decided yet.
Thank you.